My name is Wen-Chin, surname Chang, Wen-Chin Chang, and I'm an anthropologist.
And you're here at Academia Sinica.
Yes.
What kind of subject are you working on broadly?
I focus on migration studies and migration in the borderland areas. So I work among a particular migrant group, the Yunanese Chinese, migrating from southwestern China in Yunnan province to Burma, and part of them move on to Thailand, northern Thailand. So it's the borderland areas from southwestern China to Burma and to Thailand. So I trace about their migration history and their transnational activities, especially in terms of informal trade, smuggling.
So when you were studying for your PhD, did you study in Taiwan or did you study overseas or in Southeast Asia? Or?
I did my graduate studies in Europe, in Belgium, in a very old university, the KU Leuven in Belgium.
How did you happen to choose that one?
I went to a Catholic university in Taiwan, and when I was studying in Furen University, I learned about KU Leuven. And I was interested in going to Europe because for me it's very attractive with thick culture and history.
So you studied in English or French? Or?
Actually, the area I went is Flemish, so it's Dutch. But all the courses I did is in English. I did my first master in European Studies, and it's an international program opening to students from different parts of the world. And after European Studies, I did anthropology, and again, it's an international program.
So you wrote your dissertation in English?
In English, yes.
So what I would like to talk about now is how you first started writing for publication in English, and if you can remember back to that time, because I know you've published a lot both in English, you've got a book out in English, but what it was it like when you were first trying to?
Actually, I did my academic writing all in English. The reason I do so is because I was trained in Europe, and I did my undergraduate in philosophy, so I started my anthropological training abroad. So I didn't have the background about all these academic terms in Chinese. So naturally, I wrote in English. And when I started my academic publication, I was very junior. And of course, no one invited me to write a book chapter. And the only access I could do is through journal submission. So I started with journal submission, and it was very frustrating, but I learned so much from the process.
How long did it take you to get the first article published?
The first article, well, let me say in this way that in my very early stage, I had one very particular experience which has been very significant to me until now, that I waited for about nearly 1 year to get 3 referees' comments rejection. And the editor also wrote to me, said that, well, these 3 reviewers, they point out the interesting issue of my study, because it's a subject that very rarely studied. So we talk about acknowledged research gap. So I did fulfill this, but it was immature to be accepted as a journal article, and all the 3 reviewers turned down my submission. But I was so junior, I didn't realize that a rejection means a rejection. So I read all these comments and I digested the comments, and I spent a few months to rewrite my article, and then I sent it back to the same journal. I think the editor, the executive editor, was impressed that I sent it back, and he read it. And I think that he thought it was interesting. And he sent it back to those 3 reviewers again, and all of them approved my improvement and said that we should accept this article. And it was a great learning process. And afterwards, I have 3 articles published by that journal, which is published by Cambridge University Press.
What journal is it?
Journal of Southeast Asian Studies.
So the top journal in the Southeast Asian Studies
It
field.
was a good journal, yeah.
So you were very brave as a very junior scholar to start with the top.
I wouldn't say that I was brave. I would say that I was simply naive. I didn't know many things, so I was just trying. I even didn't know that a rejection means a rejection. So, and be honest, I thought that, oh, it's a journal based in Singapore. Not big deal, no big deal. So I tried, and then I waited for nearly 1 year and got rejected.
So when you decided then to write a book, your first book,
Yeah.
Was that different from writing articles, and if so, how?
Very, very. But I would say that the journal article writing is a very good training. So in terms of clarity, how to express myself clearly enough with easy understanding language, because English is not my native language. And it's difficult for me to use very complicated and very beautiful way of writing. But I write it with, I think, clear enough and to express it in an academic way. And journal article writing is a good training. And over several years I did it. And then, so I used my journal article publications to get promotion from assistant research fellow to associate research fellow. And after that, I started to work on a book.
And how long did it take to finish the book?
It took me about 3.5 years to write, but then another 3.5 years to get it published.
What was the trouble with getting it published? Finding a publisher, or?
Yeah, it was very difficult because I'm based in Taiwan, which is not considered mainstream. But I was targeting North American press and university press within my fields, which means Southeast Asian Studies, and not many university press in this field. So I was selecting some university press, and I contacted them, and I was trying, and finally got through with Cornell University Press, but it really took a long time. Also in terms of reviewing process.
So what advice do you give to younger people, your younger scholars, when?
I would say that just keep on trying. Just keep on trying, and even getting rejection, not to let the piece stay in there, but continue to work on it, and then send it to the same journal or to another journal. But because every piece takes time to write and takes time to research, to research and to write. So it's really just wasting to let it sit some in the drawer. So I would say that just keep on working.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.